There is something sacred about watching a woman who has been relentlessly dissected by tabloids, trolls, pundits, and opportunists take the stage not to defend but to define herself. At the Time 100 Summit, Meghan Sussex didn't come to prove anything. She came to share with warmth, with wit, and most powerfully, with joy. And in doing so, she reminded us that for Black women, joy is resistance. That excellence, especially when executed in the face of ridicule, is a quiet act of rebellion. Let's talk about what really happened in those 20 minutes that couldn't contain the full journey she's on. Meghan, the architect, creativity with intention. She's no longer just the duchess or the actress. Meghan has reintroduced herself on her terms. A founder, a CEO, a mother, a curator of beauty and meaning. She spoke not as someone dabbling in projects, but as a woman building platforms. That is plural, platforms. Her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, wasn't manufactured. It was born from the kitchen, from jam jars or preserves, if you want to say that, flour, sprinkles, and crafting gifts with care. Her product line, as ever, sold out in 45 minutes, not from hype, but from hands on diligence. She even, in some ways, mocked the glamorized assumptions people make, revealing how she sat in her kitchen, reconstructing unboxing experiences with tissue paper and cardboard until it felt right. That's not a celebrity vanity project. That's Black women excellence. Thoughtful, intentional, and thorough.
I think always credit where credit's due. Um, I know Ted Sarandos will be here later on today, and Ted has been such an incredible partner in the partnership my husband and I have had with Netflix for the past few years. And then Bella Bajaria as well has just been so incredibly supportive. And I think just naturally, I was doing what I've always loved to do. And people couldn't see that more broadly, but what I'd love to do was always make things in my kitchen, do small flower arrangements, make a lot of jam. And when I was sending those as gifts, one day Bella said, "There's a show here." And I hadn't at the onset thought that that was something that I wanted to share in that way. And creatively, we worked as partners to really find a way for it to land and for me to be able to share it and just have fun, which is really, I think, the goal in this chapter, for me, certainly. And then you just watch the extensions of that, where Netflix coming on as my business partner for the brand as ever. is really an extension of the evolution of our partnership together, and they complement.
Letting women be whole. With her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, Meghan gives space for what capitalism often forgets: the human behind the hustle. She shares not just the glossy wins, but the messy pivots, the surprises, the lessons. That transparency matters because for far too long, women, especially women of color, have been told to be grateful for the seat at the table, to perform perfection, to smile through exhaustion. Meghan is flipping that script. She's not waiting to be cast in someone else's story. She's writing her own. And she's bringing other women with her.
Oh, confusing for a lot of people. You go, well, how do you show up for all these people and not feel depleted? But a lot of times, if you're doing it in a way where you are giving in a way that is thoughtful and intentional and so authentic, it actually energizes you as opposed to depleting you. So, as an example, when you mentioned the crew as a character, when I said, how are we going to do a cooking show or a crafting show that doesn't feel like a typical stand and stir, which we all remember from back in the days? We stand, look at camera, and you're stirring something. I didn't necessarily want to do that. And I didn't want a reality show. And so the only way to feel as though you were still in conversation with me, I felt, was I had to be talking to the people in the room with me. And that was the crew. And, on Suits, we had a crew of over 200 people. So, and on this show, it's a crew of 80 people, which also, when people said, why didn't you do it in your house? It's like, well, my kids are coming home for their nap, and 80 people in the kitchen isn't really the childhood memory I would love for them to have. So we were really fortunate to find something close by. But I think, look, all of that is part of how I take care of myself, and tapping into what really ignites my joy is part of that, and being creative has really, really been anchored in that for this moment.
Joy as resistance, boundaries as power. When asked how she avoids distraction, Meghan was clear: boundaries. No endless scrolling, no feeding the machine that profits off of public cruelty. She models that for her children, not just for peace of mind, but as a radical act of preservation. And it is radical in a world that has tried to drown her in noise. Meghan has, in some ways, created quiet, created peace, and that joy and that happiness. She's curated a life where joy, not trauma, is centered, where delight can be found in something as small and magical as flower sprinkles. And make no mistake, talking about flower sprinkles at Time 100 was intentional. It wasn't fluff, it was subversive. And some of you might be thinking, well, Antonio, why would it be subvertive? Like, why? Well, because small joys are political when you're a black woman. When you're a black woman in the public eye, especially one as relentlessly scrutinized and dehumanized as Meghan, your every word is measured, every gesture interpreted. every smile dissected. So to choose to talk about dried petals, to center tiny moments of delight in a space that often values power, power in numbers, in capital, in crisis. It's not just fluff. It's saying, I'm free. That's freedom, right? Freedom. It's basically saying, I don't owe you my trauma to be taken seriously. I don't need to come here and talk to you about my trauma in order for you to take me seriously. I'm going to talk to you about my joy. I'm going to talk to you about flower sprinkles. You see, historically, Black women have been allowed to be strong, right? Stoic, um, sa- sacrificial, but not soft, not playful, not whimsical. Flower sprinkles, and I can't believe I'm actually like like actually saying this out loud because it seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But flower sprinkles are light, delicate. They're unnecessary in the most practical way. They are unnecessary. Some may say they don't even make any sense. And that's what makes them revolutionary. By naming them on a stage reserved for global influencers, movers and shakers, these people that admire power and might and everything big and right. So by naming them on stage, Meghan was saying, we deserve softness. We deserve levity. We deserve the luxury of beauty without justification. She said, I would just sprinkle them on everything. Just very bizarre. Very okay. I made eggs, I sprinkled them on eggs. I did toast, I sprinkled them on toast. You know how many certain type of women are their heads are spinning because we all know they don't think she deserves any of that. And she just threw it in their face. She just went, "Oh, I just kind of, I don't understand the fuss. I don't understand all of this fuss about this. But since we're talking about it, it's just a nice thing to have. You just sprinkle it on everything, makes it look prettier." Mm. When she said that, I started laughing. I was like, baby Jesus, I am loving this so much. Thank you. Thank you. Great. That is subversive because it disrupts the expectation that her power must be proven through pain. Her power must be proven through pain. And she said, not today. Meghan's commentary on boundaries naturally echoes a large truth. Social media companies know the damage they're doing. She didn't need to say it outright, but it hung in the air. The reason she doesn't go online is because she understands how these platforms are engineered. The algorithms aren't broken. They're not. They're working as intended. And the people, it's the people that they hurt the most. Children and women. And I come back to this again, especially women of color, the vulnerable, are collateral in the pursuit of ad revenue. And they know it. Her absence from that digital battlefield is not disengagement, it's a rebuke. Yes, she has Instagram. She has it for business, and comments are off. Selena Gomez is an example. Selena Gomez does not post any of her stuff on Instagram. She gave it up a long time ago. She has a team that does it. She doesn't look at it unless she has to, because it's for her mental health. They know this. It challenges us to ask, what would it mean to truly value mental health over monetization? What if the humanity of one woman, of anyone, mattered more than the clicks her name could generate? You think they don't know all the hate that existed about Meghan? You think on this platform they don't know? I have not seen one Sussex friendly channel have the numbers. And I know I say this ever so often, but it's my most clearest proof. I mean, Barron should be at 150,000 members, 200,000. The man is incredible what he does. His knowledge, his stamina, all of that. He should be more than double the numbers he's got. And what do we see? We see these. Oh, I'm a twin. We're twins together, and we just hate Sussexes. And yes, and oh, suck on a pickle. Ooh, I'm getting heated here. Calm down here, Antonio. Calm down. Right? But they know. Perhaps the most moving moment came when Meghan confessed simply, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Oh, when she said that. And I mean, you can see it in her face. You can see it in just the way she's speaking. You can feel it, sense it. You can hear it. Oh, what joy. Oh, happy day. What joy. What joy. Let that land. I'm the happiest I've ever been. After everything, the exile, the headlines, the loss, the betrayal, she says she is happiest now because her children are joyful, because her partner is kind and supportive. Gosh, some people are going to really have a conundrum. Because I think, was it 2 weeks ago? Scott feels something. That one, gosh, they make me laugh. Oh, Prince Harry is this and he's dead and Meghan is not happy and divorce talks are back on again. I saw that one of the, whichever one it is. I don't care to remember whichever publication it is or online, whatever. Now they brought out some other nonsense that suppose, oh well, the sh- Megan was so rude to the gardener, so rude to the gardener. And what was I saying again? The what? What am I supposed to say? The garden. Oh, which gardener? Oh, just say Queen Elizabeth. All right. And Queen Elizabeth. I am not joking. It is just incredible. Incredible, these people. She is the happiest because her children are joyful, because her partner is kind and supportive, because she gets to create with intention. And because, as she said, what matters is being home in time for Archie to lose his first tooth. Oh, gosh. This is not the pursuit of perfection. This is the pursuit of wholeness. It's building a life where business, strategy, and bedtime stories can coexist, where flower sprinkles and financial planning live in the same calendar. That's balance. I mean, that is the dream, right? Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, stood on that stage not just to reflect, but to radiate. She isn't merely navigating post royal life, she's striving through it, building a joyful empire on her own terms, and doing so while lifting others, investing in female founders, and centering stories of dignity and depth. What we saw at Time 100 wasn't just a keynote, it was certainly a blueprint for building with heart, for protecting your peace, for creating what you need to see in the world, and for living out loud with grace, grit, and flower sprinkles. Gosh, I got to get me some of those flower sprinkles.
Production company that I'm working with. They're fantastic. But I think confession for you today that I could very comfortably say is I'm the happiest that I've ever been. And that part, to have a partner and a husband who is just so supportive, and to have healthy kids that are so joyful in the freeness of their life and the safety of their life that we create for them. I never, of all the things that have happened in my life, I never would have imagined getting here at this point. I would feel just so happy and grateful, and I really do. Well, that's so nice.